Welcome, guys. This is the intro. We are going to talk about basketball, obviously fantasy basketball today. We're actually going to get into a little bit of UFC, and obviously we're going to talk about the Super Bowl. First, we're going to answer some questions that you guys have asked me. We're going to do that after my intro. We're going to start with that, and then we're going to go into everything else. Run my intro. Thanks for watching. It's another episode of Coach WONDERGEDDON. I am your coach, WONDERGEDDON. We are going to talk about a lot of basketball today. This is fantasy world, so right now you probably know really only basketball going on right now. Hockey's going on, yes. I'm not really into the hockey one. I'm not really into soccer either. Basketball for me this season, seeing how the football fantasy season has already ended. We are going to ask questions, or we're going to answer questions from you guys. First question comes from Sav's boss team. He asks, which injury has hurt the most in NBA fantasy league this season? Good question. Easy answer. Steph Curry. You're missing about 27 points a game. You're missing about 3.5, 4 3-pointers a game. You're missing court leadership. You're in the NBA fantasy. A lot of times the things that set you apart are the little things like the steals that he picks up. Not too many blocks, but he does pick up a lot of threes that changes the game into your favor in a 9 or 11 category league. Joel Embiid injury this season also hurt a lot of teams. Losing Pascal Siakam losses for a lot of teams too made them fall behind a little bit. But definitely Steph Curry being missing. He's a first round pick, man. When you lose your first round pick in the beginning of the season, it's a hard comeback. Especially he hasn't even been back yet. I don't think he's coming back until after the All-Star break. Then you'll start to see things pick up, and you'll start to notice what a big loss it is when he's not around. So that's my answer, Steph Curry. Question number 2 comes from Teddy's Bruckshot. Teddy's Bruckshot asked, whose second half return will be the greatest boost in Fantasy League 2020? I want to say Steph Curry again. I'm not going to say Steph Curry again, no. Who I think is going to make the biggest impact in Fantasy League in the second half of the season is going to be Victor Oladipo from the Indiana Pacers. I think his team is a lot healthier, which means he's going to pick up a lot more assists than Steph Curry's going to when he comes back. Don't get me wrong. I think Steph Curry's going to score about 30 points a game when he comes back. He's going to go off. He's going to have the green light to shoot and get as much points as he wants, and that's going to benefit a lot of people in a lot of their leagues. But when it comes to numbers, which is what I like to look at, when I like to look at full volume numbers, I'm looking for the extra steals he's going to get because the defense plays defense nightly. I don't think he's going to get too many blocks. He is a guard, but I'm expecting him to get a lot of assists just off the extra passes that a full squad like the Indiana Pacers gets to use. Passing the ball around gets you a lot of extra assists. You do lose a couple, but you do gain a lot. Ball movement does make the difference between a great team and a good team. He's going on to a great team. Steph Curry is a great player, but putting on a team where you're just full of injuries and young guys, you get the green light to do whatever you want, which is going to benefit scoring. But all around numbers, I'm going to have to say Victor Oladipo is going to be the second half of the ball season surprise. Go Hard in the Paint asked, who has been the biggest NBA surprise as so far this season? Biggest surprise going into a couple weeks away from All-Star Weekend, my opinion so far has to be Brandon Ingram. I knew he was nice. I've always known he was nice. I didn't know this. Now I know. I wasn't sure. I knew. I wasn't sure. Now I know. 25 points a game, 6.5 rebounds. He gets a steal, he gets a block on average every game. The thing that makes it crazy about him is that he went into this game with a pretty fractured team, which is actually ending up to be pretty good. I mean, they got half the Lakers from 2 years ago on that roster. Lonzo Ball's gonna obviously nice. Hart's nice. Derek Favors is on that team. So for him to put up 25 points a game is a pretty good work. He's just getting started though. He has Zion Williamson back for the second half of the season. He's already back, but second half of the season is when I think everything's going to start really buzzing. That's who I'm going to choose. Brandon Ingram is going to be my biggest surprise going into All-Star Weekend. All right, so let's play a game, guys. This is we're going to talk more basketball. Let's play a game. I'm going to call this game, let's call it mid-season pickups to make a couple weeks before All-Star Weekend. If. I repeat, mid-season pickup a couple weeks before All-Star Weekend. If. This is how we're going to play the game. I am going to give an if scenario, and I'm going to give you an idea of what to replace it with if that scenario does happen. Fantasy League, of course. For example, and not even for example, this is going to be the first one. Andre Drummond plays for the Detroit Pistons. Now, let's say that at the trade deadline, Andre Drummond gets moved. Now, first off, you're not going to drop him no matter what team he goes to. He's still going to be a primetime 2020 candidate. If they only give him 20 minutes when he first gets to a new team and he's just getting acclimated, keep up with it. Don't drop him. He's obviously going to be a big time threat with whatever team he goes to. That being said, if he does leave Detroit, make sure that you have your hands on Christian Wood. Christian Wood is the center for Detroit Pistons, getting about 20 minutes a game with Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond's obviously going to be a really hard guy to replace. But if for any reason he's not on the team, obviously a trade being included in that, Christian Wood has all the space in the world to grow into 50-60% of what Andre Drummond does. As I said, Andre Drummond will put up a 20-20 game once a week, which is a huge difference when you're dealing with fantasy, even more so in real world basketball. Fantasy League 2020 is that's like 4 players having good games. That being said, Christian Wood, if you pick him up and Drummond does leave the Detroit Pistons, then you got yourself what could potentially be a stud. As of today, last time I looked, he's only about 35% owned. Believe that if Drummond does leave the Detroit Pistons, that's going to jump up to 85 to 90%. So if he's out there and you have the opportunity to get him and someone to move, and Andre Drummond does get traded, make sure you have him on your team ASAP. Okay? Now that we get the gist of what's going on here, let's do another one. Steven Adams. If Steven Adams leaves OKC, don't worry. He's a double-double on 85% of the teams in the league. I can't imagine him going into a situation where he's not going to be the starter. And I always believe that he's capable of 10 rebounds every game and 5 baskets. He's a center. He's actually a pretty good player. He's had a little bit more offensive freedom this year without Westbrook than he has in the past. Chris Paul makes big guys look good, so he's always going to have an opportunity with Chris Paul. Obviously, you take him if he's in the situation he's in now. If he does get traded, though, out of OKC, do not worry about him. He'll be fine. Nerlens Noel also plays for OKC, is probably going to benefit the most from if Steven Adams does leave OKC. So if you do see him out there, click a little, put him on your watch list If you have space on your roster, you might want to pick him up and take the risk, especially if you're in need of some big guys and you're in need of some rebounds, especially. He might kill your free throw percentage a little bit. Most forward centers do that. But if you're falling behind and it's because of rebounds, then definitely Noel is a guy that you might want to pick up. Lastly, Karl Anthony Towns. If he gets traded from the Minnesota Timberwolves, which the rumor out there is that he might go to even the Warriors. He might actually go to the Warriors. That's just the rumor. Don't blame me for spreading it. Obviously, you don't drop him. He's a 30-point threat every game. If Karl Anthony Towns does get traded, then keep in mind that the Minnesota Timberwolves still have Georgie Jang, and he will be their starter in that time. I can't imagine they're going to get rid of Anthony Towns and get back another starting center of that caliber, power forward center, I should say. Actually, you know what? Anthony Towns is he's only a center this season, so pick up a Georgie Jang. He's a power forward center, which means he's going to be a little bit more versatile, a little bit easier to play. And he's also shown, while Towns was injured, that he's capable of pulling down a nice double-double for you. A little 15 and 10 action here and there. But obviously, it doesn't reflect too well on the numbers because he's more of a bench guy and doesn't get that same kind of minutes that he would with Towns being out of the picture. And that's it. We're going to play this game another time. We'll probably call it something else, but that's definitely if. That is the trade deadline game when it comes to fantasy basketball. Trade deadlines, man, they will alter your whole season, your whole league if you grab some potential near it. All right. We're going to talk about more ball next time. Obviously, All-Star Weekend is coming, so we're going to be talking about All-Star Weekend soon. Trade deadlines coming. We got a lot of ball stuff to talk about. Fantasy-wise, obviously, fantasy basketball is the only thing I'm playing right now with the end of football season and the Super Bowl coming. So we're going to be talking about dunk-offs, three-pointers, skill competitions. Oh my, we're going to have a good time. Do we have anyone confirmed yet for the dunk-off? I don't even know if we do, or for the three-point. I don't know who's in it yet, but we're going to definitely, when we start figuring that out, we're definitely going to talk about who we think is going to win the dunk-off. In advance to the dunk-off, we're probably going to watch the dunk-off maybe live. We might gather up a bunch of us and watch it a little bit. We'll see what happens. Let's spend a little time talking about my favorite combat sport, UFC 246, Conor McGregor versus Donald Cerrone. I watched it with my boy Teddy Brockshot of my WBBL League, World Basketball Fantasy League, WBFL. We watched it. It was in Las Vegas T-Mobile Arena. We did not watch it there. We watched it in the comfort of our own home. But you know what? I'm going to tell you guys about it, and I'm going to take about 40 seconds to do it. Let's start it right now. I was looking forward to Claudia Gadelha versus Alexa Grasso. Didn't happen. Grasso didn't make weight. Fight got canceled because she was about 6 pounds or 7 pounds overweight. So they weren't able to do it. That got canceled. Carlos Diego Ferreira tapped out Anthony Pettis. Surprised the crap out of me. Didn't see that happening, but he did win. Brian Kelleher tapped out Ode Osborne, which I couldn't believe myself. Alexa Odelic tapped out Maurice Green, which is crazy. And Holly Holmes beat Raquel Pennington. 40 seconds. You know what that was? That was Conor McGregor knocking out Donald Cerrone. 40 seconds, that's all it took. Cerrone threw one punch, missed, and then got hit with 20 punches, shoulder strikes, punches to the face, got kicked to the head. Donald Cerrone got knocked out 40 seconds and did not even hit Conor McGregor once. That's crazy, ridiculous. And you know what the funny thing is that I finished this part, the whole thing. I told you about the whole UFC 246 in the same amount of time that it took for Conor McGregor to knock out Donald Cerrone. I'm amazing. You're welcome, folks. UFC 247. If it's half as good as 246, then February 8th, which is a Saturday, in the Toyota Center at Houston, Texas, is going to be a doozy. If you liked what happened with Conor and Donald Cerrone, I could only imagine that you are going to like Jon Jones versus Dominic Reyes. Jon Jones, 25-1 with a 1-0 contest versus Dominic Reyes, who has yet to lose in the UFC's 12-0. I don't think all those wins were all in the UFC, but 12-0, no matter where you're fighting, is impressive. If you're 12-0 in a club downtown, then you are pretty impressive as a fighter. If you are 12-0 in a McDonald's, you are an impressive fighter. And they're about to go at it. 25-1 versus 12-0. Jon Jones versus Dominic Reyes. Okay? For the light heavyweight title, by the way. We're talking about championships. I personally do not see an upset. I think Jon Jones is going to beat this guy up. 12-0 is impressive, so it's going to be impressive. Obviously, you do have to watch a fight to know what happens, because you never know just looking at records and just looking at names who's going to win. But I like Jon Jones. I think he's going to win, personally. Valentina Shevchenko is going to fight Caitlin Shukagan. That is going to be another fight that I'm going to be interested in watching. Both other Shevchenko sisters, to me, are two pound-for-pound best fighters that I've seen. They're both ninjas. They both know multiple languages. They both could possibly be international spies. That being said, I'm going to watch them and make sure that that they are fighting to their best and they're not trying to steal from some vault somewhere downtown Houston. I'll be watching that probably at Teddy Bruckshot's yard again. We'll probably be thumping big things and running dominoes until it's done. If you want tickets to his yard, you link me and let me know. He's probably watching this right now, absolutely wondering what the hell I'm doing inviting people to his house and selling tickets to get in there. I just wanted to make sure he's writing, that he was listening. If he was listening, he's going to call me and go, "What the hell are you doing?" And then it worked. Then it worked. And I know you're watching. Shout out Teddy's Bruckshot. All right, guys. Lastly, sports-wise, obviously, waited to the end. Pretend I didn't notice. No fantasy league implications, but we have to talk about the Super Bowl, guys. Super Bowl, Kansas City 49ers. Listen to me. Let me rephrase that. Lastly, Super Bowl. Wait. Lastly, guys, I put off all this time to talk about this till the end. I acted like I didn't know. No fantasy league implications, but important nonetheless. We are talking about the Super Bowl. San Francisco 49ers, Kansas City Chiefs. Who is going to win? Who is going to win? Is it going to be the fastest wide receivers I've ever seen in my life, Kansas City Chiefs? Or is it going to be the best defense that I've seen since Richard Sherman and the Seahawks? Richard Sherman is on another super elite defensive team. If that guy's not one of the best corners you've ever seen in your life, then look at this as proof, okay? The teams that he's been on have been the best defenses that you have seen, Super Bowl caliber defenses, and I don't think it's a fluke that he's been on those teams. I'm talking about the Seahawks. Seahawks defense was amazing when he was on there, and this 49ers team is just as amazing. I love the Kansas City Chiefs. I love the speed of this team, but I don't know if they're going to be able to pull this one off. I don't know if they're going to be able to beat San Francisco 49ers. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that the Chiefs are going to win? Do you guys think the 49ers are going to win? Who? Why? What's the score? Let me know. Who do you think is going to win Super Bowl? So what did we learn today, folks? What have we learned today? I think I'm going to go San Francisco over Kansas City Chiefs. I think I'm going to make that 33-30. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. You know what? Let me rephrase that. Let me change that. I think it's going to be 2017. I think it's going to be a field goal that separates the Super Bowl champions, who I believe will be San Francisco. Get ready, guys. Trade deadline in the NBA is going to change fantasy leagues, as it does every year around this time. When there is a fantasy league, when there is a deadline, NBA trade deadline, some of your players that used to look great now look subpar, and there's some 5% owned, 15-20% owned guys who you can sneak onto your roster and change your season for the better. Look out for that. Okay. What else have we learned? Conor McGregor is the man. Obviously, him versus Khabib didn't work out the way that he wanted to, but I'll tell you what we do know is that Conor McGregor is a special fighter. This guy dominated Donald Cerrone the way that he told him that he was going to dominate him at UFC 205. 205, Conor McGregor told Donald Cerrone that he cannot beat him because he's too slow and he's too stiff. And what happened? Donald Cerrone did not hit him in a full fight. A full 40 seconds, got destroyed in every kind of way that you could think of. All right. Next time, we'll talk about what's next for Conor McGregor, what we think should happen. Obviously, as I said, John Jones versus Dominic Reyes is going to be crazy. And also coming up soon is going to be Khabib versus Tony Ferguson. We're going to talk about that too. We're going to do that at a later date. Obviously, baseball's coming. We're going to talk about a lot of baseball soon. We might do the same thing that we did last year, where we went position by position. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching again. Thanks for the support. Another episode down. Usually I say what number episode we're on, and honestly I started losing count because it started getting crazy, and I like that. So thanks for watching Higher Movement Showcase. Click on that on YouTube in order to get the episode sent directly to you. Coach WONDERGEDDON on Instagram. Add that. As I said, thanks for listening. Thanks for the support. And good night, guys. Thanks for watching Higher Movement Showcase. Coach WONDERGEDDON. And you have yourself an excellent evening.